sauteed shrimp with garlic recipe, there is shrimp, and so I want to talk about how you would prepare it for the recipe. So when you go to the store to get shrimp, I recommend that if you're not ready to make your dish right away, or you don't think that you would use the full amount or can't get a small amount, if it's, just you or a limited number of people, that you buy it frozen and you can just thaw in cold, lightly running cold water in a bowl in just a few minutes in the sink. It's really not something that takes a lot of thaw time. When you're getting your shrimp, there'll be a number next to the shrimp, and it will indicate how many shrimp per pound that would be. And so the higher the number means the smaller the shrimp. So if you're doing online shopping, it might look like a big shrimp, but when you get it, you might have a lot of them. So don't pay attention to the picture if you're not there in person. Just go by the number, and that's going to be a universal measurement. So these ones are 51 to 60, so that means you'll have 51 to 60 shrimp per pound. This is a pretty good size if you're going to have it in a stir fry or have it, in something. If you wanted like a big hearty shrimp to have a few as a main dish, you definitely want to buy a number that's smaller, meaning that the shrimp are bigger. So a couple of things that I have prepared when I'm going to work with shrimp or seafood that I need to do some preparation steps with are that I have my bowl that I haven't prepared in any way yet. Then I have a bowl for the prepared finished version, and then a third bowl for scraps and peels, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so for a shrimp, I actually couldn't find any that weren't partially prepared because they're actually becoming less and less common at the store unless you're, at a fish market or a seafood market. Most of you will be going to a standard grocery store, so I think this is pretty representative of what you'd find. So this is a peel on, tail on, easy peel shrimp, meaning that you can see the peel here is split. In a whole shrimp, that wouldn't be split like that. You'd have to take your paring knife and actually make that line there. So you would have it down, tail here. This would be where the head would be cut off. And you're going to start right at where the tail, feels like a little separate body part here, meets the curved part of the shrimp. You would start there, put your knife down parallel with the cutting board, and then just make a little slice, just enough to cut just through that peel. It's very, very thin. You can see, I'll pull this one off. It's actually pretty translucent. It comes off very easily once you have done that slice. You can see, you can actually see my fingers right through it. So really, really thin. Take that out, put that in the dish. If you had just cut this, then instead of having this, uniformly colored shrimp meat here, you're going to have a black line running down the back. That's actually the digestive tract in the shrimp. That's not something you want to eat. You would just pull that out. It looks like just a black string. You put that in with your peel. Any little remaining legs or anything come with it. And then if you wanted tail on shrimp, you're ready to go. This will turn a pink color. So you can see that, some of the meat has almost like a slightly translucent quality to it. That will become more white and opaque as you cook it, which you'll see in the dish. And then if you want to not have to pull the tails off, you don't want to have to start trying to pull it apart with your silverware or with your fingers at dinner, then you can also just grab at the body of the shrimp, grab the tail, and pull in opposite directions, and then the tail piece comes off as well. So this is fully edible, and again, you can cook it like this or cook it with the tail on and then remove the tail later. So let me just do a couple more so you can get a sense of that. So again, this is an easy peel, so it already has the intestines, the digestive tract removed in that first slit. So you just grab that, peel it. You can get pre-peeled shrimp. You can get it with tail off. There's usually a lot of descriptors. You can buy it however you want, but the more processing that's done ahead of time, the more it's going to cost you. This is very easy to do. You can see you can be talking, pull that off. So if you don't mind a couple extra minutes of work, then you could just go ahead and do this. I'm just taking the peel. You can kind of grab the tail at the same time and just pull in the opposite direction. It will come off. And if it's really, really fresh, usually that tail will just slide right off and all the meat will remain. Sometimes if it's starting to get a little softer, part of the meat will go with the tail. So in terms of freshness, you'd want to thaw this the day you're going to cook it. If it's frozen, if you're buying it thawed, you want to cook it that day ideally. And if you're buying fish or seafood, the more strongly it smells, the more fishy it smells, probably the older it is. If you're buying fish, which I know we don't show in a demo video, one thing that is kind of a fail safe to know if you're getting fresh fish or not is if you can find it with the head still on and look at the eyes. If they look like an eye of a live fish, where it's nice, you know, it's clear, not cloudy, you can see all the distinct parts of the eye, then it's very, very fresh. It will start to get cloudy quite quickly as it ages, and aged fish is not something that you're aiming for unless, of course, it's salted and cured appropriately. So here we have our shrimp, a few of them, you know, peeled, tail off, ready to go for our sauteed shrimp with garlic, which you could add to any of our otherwise plant-based dishes for, you know, that protein flip, or adding in some lean proteins that are going to be healthier options than, say, you know, red and processed meat. Trying to shift more to fish and seafood, and lean meats like turkey or chicken are good options. And just making sure that the full dish and plate are very plant forward.